Hi there ladies and gents, and welcome to this video. I know it's been a long time due, and I know I owe you guys a website build, but I have been so extremely busy with two projects that I haven't even had the time to design the website. But I will hopefully in the near future be able to release another website build. I am building an e-commerce website for the next tutorial, and hopefully can release that in the next couple of weeks. But I don't want my YouTube channel to become inactive, so I'm going to start releasing some videos for more advanced Divi users where we can do some coding and make things that Divi doesn't really give us out of the box. So for the first video, I actually needed to make this image gallery for a client on one of the projects I'm busy with. And Divi obviously doesn't come with such a gallery. Now, you can get something like this in WooCommerce and that, but what if you don't want to use WooCommerce? What if you just need it to display some images? So I built this from scratch, and let me just show you how it works. So you've got the main image, and then this is the first image. If you click on the next one, it changes that to that image, and so on. And you see it's got this faded image which is done with an opacity to show that you are on that image, and as you go through it has that lower opacity over the current image. So if you want to build something like this, then I'm going to show you how to do it. So there will be coding involved, there will be some CSS and JavaScript that we need to use, but I'm going to go through it step by step so that you can follow along. And then if you do get lost or it's not working for some reason, leave a comment in the comment section with a link to your website so I can maybe troubleshoot it for you and see why it's not working. Otherwise, you can always send me an email as well. I do try to respond as quickly as possible, but guys, please don't expect an immediate answer. As I said, I am busy on two projects. I'm going to try to release these types of videos once a week because they are easier to do. It's not a whole website build, it's just a portion of a website build. So these are much easier to do. And just to keep my YouTube channel active, I'm going to release these hopefully once a week, or maybe even 2 times a week. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, enough babbling along. Let's move on to the build. So I've logged into my WordPress website. I'm just in the back end by the dashboard. And guys, sorry, if you want to follow along with this, I've got to mention you will need Divi. You'll need also web hosting and a domain name so that you can use Divi. And I've left links to both Divi and web hosting. It's a company called Green Geeks where you can get a domain name and web hosting. And if you already have Divi and web hosting in that, then you don't have to worry about that. But if you don't, there are links. And just to be totally upfront and transparent with you guys, if you do purchase Divi or any website hosting through my links, I do receive a commission, and I really do appreciate it if you do purchase through my links. So let's start. The first thing we need to do, we need to create a page. You might already have a page, then you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to come over to pages and I'm going to select add new. So I'm just going to give the page a title, and I'm just going to call it image gallery. And then I'm going to choose this option to use a Divi builder. We then get these 3 options to build from scratch. Choose a pre-made layout or clone an existing page. So I want to build from scratch, so I'm going to select that option. It's then going to ask me to select a row with a number of columns. I only want a 1-column row, so I'm going to select that. And for the module, I want an image module. So I've just typed in image and I will select image. Then we need to select the image we want to use, so we can click on the image icon there. And I'm going to use this first image over here. So I have images already uploaded into my library. If you don't have images yet, you'd have to go to upload files. You'll then have this option to select files, so you can click on that and go to the folder where your images are, or you could just drag the images from the folder into the screen and it will upload for you. But I'll go back to my media library and I'm going to choose this first image here, and I'm going to click this button that says upload an image. So there is the first image. The only thing we're going to do with this image, we're going to go to the Design tab, and we're going to select Sizing, and for width, we want to make it 100%. We then need to go over to the Advanced tab, and under this CSS ID and classes, we can click on that. And for the ID, you can name this whatever you want, but I suggest following along with what I've named it, just so that you don't get lost when we move to the CSS and JavaScript. So I'm going to name it DG-current. So there it is there, DG-current. So just make sure you put this under the ID, not the class, but the ID. You can then save the image. Next thing we need to do, we need to add another row. So this first row is for our current image. So it is for this image over here. The next row we're going to add is to display these thumbnails. So let's add a new row by clicking on the green button to add a new row. And again, we just want a single column row or one column row. And in this column, we can just add another image. And let's click on the image icon. And let's load our second image. And click the button that says Upload an image. Then we're going to style the first image and duplicate this image module with all the styles already there. So we don't have to worry about styling each image individually. So let's go to the Design tab. The first thing we want to do is we want to click on Sizing. And we want to select the different views for desktop, tablet, and mobile. So I don't know why, but sometimes I get this glitch. I don't know if you guys experience it where I can't see anything, but if I hover, I can see the hand icon there. I just need to click there. Okay, and I get right. Okay, but it's that over there. So let me just go out of that. So you want to click this mobile phone option, and it will give you the desktop option, the tablet option, and the phone option. For desktop, we want to make this 200 pixels wide. So that shows our first thumbnail. Then for tablet, we want to make it 110 pixels wide. And on phone, we want to make it 60 pixels wide. Right, let's go back to the desktop view. Then we want to scroll down and come to spacing. And for margin, the right-hand side, we want to make this 0 pixels. Then the last thing we want to do, let's go to the Advanced tab and select the CSS ID and classes. And now we want to name a class. So I'm going to name this DG-thumbnail. Like that. So again, this you can name whatever you want, but in order to follow along and make sure there's no mistakes in the coding later with CSS and JavaScript, I just suggest you follow along with what I'm naming these IDs and classes for now. Right, then we can save this. And what we want to do, I'm only going to use, let me just get back to desktop. I don't know what's happened here. I just want to see why this is not going to desktop. There's some glitch happening with Divi. I'm just going to publish this. And you can also publish yours now if you want to. Then I just want to exit the Visual Builder. And then enable it again. Okay, it looks better now. So what we want to do, let's duplicate this image. Now I'm going to duplicate it 4 other times. Obviously, you will duplicate it for as many images as you have. So I'm going to duplicate it 4 times. So you'll see, sorry, actually, yeah, 4 times. So you'll want to remember your first image is going to be this main image over here. And then you want the rest of your images that you want to filter through so that it shows over here. So let's go into the first image. And I've made a mistake here. I should have selected this image over here. But let's go in there and change it. So just remember, for the first image, you want to select exactly the same image that you chose for the bigger image. So I want to select that one and then click upload an image, save that. And then I'm going to quickly just change these images out, and I'm not going to do it on screen here, otherwise it will take too long and I'll bore you. So I'm just going to quickly change it and I'll be back with you now. Alright, so I have my 5 images uploaded. Now they're all stacked underneath one another, and we need to stack them horizontally. So to do that, we need to actually go into the row settings, and then we need to go into the column settings, because your column is the parent container for all these images. We want to then go to the Advanced tab. Remember, we're in the column settings. We want to go to the Advanced tab, and we want to come to this option that says Custom CSS. And then under the main elements, the first code we're going to use is called Flexbox. So we want to state in here, we want to type display, then a colon, space, and then flex, like that. So you'll see now the images fall alongside one another in a horizontal fashion, and it's no longer vertical. But the spacing, well, there's no spacing at all. And we want to have spacing so this fits nicely in line with this bigger image. So in order to do that, we want to use something that is called justify content, and this is for Flexbox. So let's type justify content, then a colon, and over here we're going to type space between. And guys, just remember to put these semicolons in over here. And then you'll see it's now spaced nicely and evenly, and it fits within this larger image. So that's all we need to do for the column. So let's save that and then save the row settings. So that's basically all the styling done. There's just minor styling we need to do for the animations and that, but this is the whole setup. Now we're going to go into just a bit of CSS styling and then the JavaScript code. So what we want to do, hover over the last image, and you might not be able to get to it. So what you can do, right click and choose this option that says go to layer. And this can make it a bit easier to work in something like this. So over on this last image, if you hover over it, you'll see there's the blue border. If you watch, there's a blue border that goes over the last image. Let's just add a module, and you do that by clicking this plus icon. And we want to add a code module. So type in code and then select that module. And I'm just going to widen this a little bit so you can see the code nicely. The first code we want to do is some CSS styling. So in order to do CSS styling, we need 2 tags, an opening tag of style and a closing tag of style. So to do that, use the left arrow, I think you call it, and type in style, and then you close it by using the right arrow, and then it will automatically give you this closing tag for style. Right, we then click enter. And then I just like to write in between the 2 style tags like this. So you'll see the opening tags at the top, closing tags at the bottom, and in between I'm going to put my code. So the first thing we want to target are these thumbnails over here. And if we're going to, I'm just going to click on this image settings here for the first image. And if we go to advanced and to CSS ID and classes, you'll remember we gave it this class called dg-thumbnail. So let's copy that and let's go back to our code and see how nice it is to work now with this layers panel open, because we can just switch between all the modules we have. So let's click on the code settings, and between the style tags I'm going to put a dot and paste in my class, which is dg-thumbnail. Guys, you don't have to copy like I'm doing it. You can type it out as we go along, or you can pause and type as I'm doing it. We want to then use curly braces like that. So if you push shift and the square bracket key, it will give you the curly braces. I'm not sure what it is on a Mac, but I'm sure it's virtually the same. I'm not sure what shift is on a Mac though. You can then push enter. So we're on a new line like that. And the first thing you want to do is when we hover over the thumbnails, we want the cursor to become a pointer. So let me just show you an example. As you can see, if you look at my mouse now, it's the arrow. But if I hover over the thumbnails, it's got the hand icon, which is a pointer. So we want to change it to that. So let us type in cursor, then colon, and type pointer. And then remember the semicolon. Let us save this quickly. And I'm just going to open this in a new tab. So as we put in the code, we can see what we're doing. So I'm just going to open a new tab here and paste that in. All right, so you see, if I hover now, it's got the hand icon, and it's no longer the arrow icon. So that's what that code does. All right, so now let us do the JavaScript. So let's go onto another line, and let's put in some script tags. So to do that, we do the left arrow key again, type in script, the right arrow key, and it will automatically create the closing tag for script. Click enter, and then again, let's just go in between the two tags of script. And we want to now target this main image. So we need to create a variable. And guys, I know JavaScript can be a bit difficult. I even get lost sometimes and have to Google these things and that, but just follow along with me in terms of what I type, and then you should be fine. Again, if you guys have questions or something's not working, please drop a comment in the comment section with a link to the website you're working on, or you can send me an email. My email address is in the comment section as well, or in the description, not the comment section, sorry. So let's create the first variable, and we want to get this main image. So let us create a variable. We do that by typing in const, then space, and then you can name this anything you want, but please, I think it's better if you follow along with what I'm naming it so you don't get lost in all the code. And I'm going to name this variable current. We're then going to push space and then the equal sign and space again. And then we're going to use something called document.querySelector. So let's type in document.query and then selector with a capital S. I spelled it wrong. And then let's use brackets. So just pause it and copy this code as I have it there. So it's const, and then we're naming this variable current, and it must equal document.querySelector. And guys, make sure you have the letter, the letter styling exactly. So documents with all lowercase letters, dot, and then queries lowercase, and then the selector has a capital S or uppercase S, and the rest of the letters are lowercase. So just make sure you have it exactly like this, otherwise your code won't work. All right, so we want to get this main image, and if we go into the main image, so let's go into this main image here and go to advanced and go to CSS ID and classes. Remember, we named this an ID of DG current. So let's copy that. And let's go back to our code. And in these brackets here, let's open quotation marks and paste in our ID. And because it's an ID, we need to put in the ID symbol, which is a hash sign or number sign or pound sign. I don't know what people call it nowadays, but it's that sign over there. So you need to make sure your first line of code looks like that, and then you end it with a semicolon. Now let's copy that line, and let's go to a new line and paste that line. Now we want to select these images, these thumbnail images. So to do that, we're going to get another variable, or we're going to create another variable. And this variable we're going to change to thumbnails. Guys, again, these variables you can name what you want, but again, and this is the last time I'll say it, is follow along with me so that there's no mistakes in the coding. And then once you get used to this, you can name it what you want. So this variable is named thumbnails and it equals document.querySelector. Now, because there's not one image, but 5 images, we can't just use query selector. We could use query selector here because we're only targeting the one image, but we need to target all these images. We need to use something that is document.querySelector all. Again, check your case, guys. So it's query with a lowercase q, selector with a uppercase S, and all with a uppercase A. So just check that, otherwise your code won't work. And then in between the quotation marks here, we can go back to image, and these are the thumbnail images. If you remember, we gave them all a class of DG thumbnail, so we can copy that, go back to our code, or you can just copy it from the style over here, and we can take the hash and the DG current out, put a dot for, and a dot is for a class, a hashtag is for a ID. So that's how you know. Hashtag for an ID, dot for a class. And let's paste in our class there. And we want to also select the images. So we want to type in, so after the class, we want to have a space and then the image tag, which is img. So let's go to a new line. Let's create a for each loop now. And the reason we have to do this is because we need to loop through all of these images, all of these thumbnails. We need to loop through it. Guys, I'm not going to explain JavaScript here. This is beyond the scope of this video. There's a lot of YouTube tutorials that teach JavaScript and that. So if you are interested in JavaScript, there's a channel called Traversy Media where I learn a lot from. So this is actually where I got this idea, is from one of his videos. So I'll actually leave a link to that video and then you can also follow him. So I think before we create the for each loop, what I want to do, if you remember on our one, you've got this image that has an opacity on it, which is lighting color. So let's do that first. So we want to target this first image. So to do that, we've named the thumbnails, this variable of thumbnails. So let's copy thumbnails and paste it over there. So we want to target this first thumbnail, and to do that, the thumbnails are numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is 0. So in square brackets, we want to put in the number 0. So we are targeting just this first thumbnail. Then we want to put dot, and we want to style it. So we want to type in style there, a dot, and we want to change the opacity. So we want to put in opacity there. Then equals, and we want to change it to 0.5 so it is lighter. And then we just want to end it off with an exclamation mark. So if we save that, and we come over to our page and refresh it, you'll see this first image now has the opacity of 0.5, but the others still have an opacity of 1. So that's the first bit of JavaScript that we have to do. Let's go to a new line, and let's do the for each loop. So again, let's copy thumbnails and paste it on this new line. And then we want to put dot, and then for each. And that's how you type for each. So your for is lowercase f, but each is uppercase E. Then we want to open the brackets, and we want to get the image tag, and we want to use an arrow function. So you do an arrow function like that. the equal sign with the right arrow. We then want to get the image, we want to add a dot, and we want to put an add event listener here. And so you want to type in add event listener exactly like this. So the A, lowercase a, the E, uppercase E, and an uppercase L. Add event listener. And that means when we click on these thumbnails, we want to listen for an event. And the event we want to listen for is the click event. So when someone clicks on the image. So now to add that event listener, we need to then again put in brackets and then your quotation marks. And you can use double quotes or single quotes. I like to use the single ones. If you want to use double, you can use double. So we want to listen for the click event. So we type in there click. And then after the quotation marks, put in a comma. And we want to put in a function here. And I'm going to name it thumb click. Like that. So guys, pause the screen now and copy everything as is as you see on my screen, just so that you can keep up. Right, sorry, and then just after that line of code there, you want to put your semicolon. Alright, so we've now named this function here thumb click, so now we need to create the function. So let's go to a new line, and let's type in function, and the name of our function, which is thumb click. And we want to put brackets there and put an E in there for the event. Right, let's go to the end of the code, space, and let's open curly braces. Again, it will give you the closing curly brace as well, and click enter. And now we're going to type some code in here. So the code we want to type is, we want to grab the thumbnails again. So guys, to avoid making mistakes, I always just copy and paste so that I know I'm not making any mistakes in the code. So let's grab the thumbnails, and we want to loop through them again. So let's do .for each again, and we want to use our brackets again, and then we want to target the image with an arrow function, and then let's open brackets again. Guys, and remember, copy the code exactly as is with all the brackets and everything, otherwise your code's not going to work. And let's get the image again, .style, .opacity, and we want to equal that to 1, and then close that. So that means whenever we click on it's not going to work now, but you'll see later, whenever we click on this, the one we select will get the opacity of 0.5, and the ones not selected will get the opacity of 1, like that. Okay, so let's go to a new line. So we want that every time someone clicks on one of these images, it will appear as the larger image here. So let's do that. Let's get our main image here, which is this variable current. So let's copy current, and then let's paste it in there. And then we want to put dot, and then source set. So it's SRCSET. So it's spelled like that, source set. And let me just show you why we're doing that. If I right click and inspect, you'll see here there's this image source and then image source set. So that's what we need to target. So let's go back there. So that's the source set, and we want it to equal E, which is this E over here, dot target dot source set, and then end it with a semicolon. So guys, again, just pause and copy that line of code. Let's copy this whole line of code and paste it on the next line. And now we just want to target the image source. So we want to take out set, and we want to take out set there. And the reason why is again, the image tag has a, has the source, and there's the URL of that source, but it also has a source set with a URL. So that's why we need to do both. Right, let's go to the next line. So the next thing we want to do a fade in. So if you check on the original, watch the main image. When I click on it, it fades in. So it's not like a hard change. There's a fade in effect. So we're going to do a little bit of more CSS with this and then add it to JavaScript. So let's come back up to the style tags, and in between the style tags, let's make a new line. So let's first create our animation. So this animation we're going to call fade in. So let's put a dot and then the name fade in, and that's fade hyphen the word in. And let's open curly braces and push enter. So what we're going to do with this is have the opacity as 0. And then have an animation. And we're going to call the animation fade in. Just check our type fade in. It's fade, then uppercase I, then lowercase n. And we want it for 0.5 seconds, so that's for half a second. And we want it to ease in. And we're going to type in 1 and then forwards. And that's how we write the animation. Now to make this animation work, we need to use keyframes. So just again in between the style tags, let's put the @ symbol and type in keyframes. Then we want to get our keyframe, which we've named fade in. So let's grab that. And we want to open curly braces. And all we want to do is type the word to, and then open curly braces again, and set the opacity to 1. So it will start with 0, and will take half a second and before it becomes full opacity, which is set at 1. So I hope that makes sense. If we go to that, we click on it, just watch how it starts at 0 and becomes 1 in about half a second. You see the white, and then it becomes the full picture. And that's what we're doing there. So I hope that makes sense. And guys, sorry if this code is hard, but as you keep using code, you'll get used to all this and understand what it's doing. So I hope I am making sense. If not, I do apologize. But again, just pause the video and type everything as I've typed it. Right, so now in JavaScript, we need to add this animation we've just done. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to get our main image again. And remember, we called it current. So let's copy current and just paste it on the next line. Then we want to put in a dot, and we want to put type class list. And guys, again, check out type class list. There's a uppercase L, and then dot again, and then type add. And then we want to add the class list of fade in. So let's put in brackets, your quotation marks, and then type in our class of fade in. And we're not using that fade in with the uppercase I. We're using our class fade in. So be sure to put that fade in over there. Right, then let's end with a semicolon, and let's create a new line. Now we just want to set the fade in, the timing of it. So we're going to use something called set timeout. And guys, again, check how I've typed it. It's set all lowercase, uppercase T, and the rest lowercase for timeout. Okay, and let's open brackets, and let's put in an arrow function. So we open brackets again, go out of those second brackets we've just opened, put in an equals and a right arrow, and then let's type in current dot class list dot remove. Guys, gonna pause if I'm going too fast and copy what I've typed. And we want to remove the class of fade in. So it's open brackets, your quotation marks, your class of fade in. So we're adding the class there and removing it over there. and then go outside the brackets of the class and comma, and then we just need to set the timeout in milliseconds, and it will be 500 for, again, half a second. And then end with a semicolon. And then we just have one more line of code, which is very short. Let's go to a new line. We want to then get this E again. Dot target dot style dot opacity equals 0.5. Right, we can then save this and then go to our front end, refresh it, and then if we click on the image, it should change. But so it's working, but for some reason it's not swapping the image over here. So let's see what's wrong with my code. Okay, let's just see what I've done here. Okay, let's see what I've done here. This this very top line where we've created this variable of current, we haven't targeted the image, only the class. So we need to target the image as well. So go to the end, and we want to put a dot after the bracket. So in between the bracket, end of the closing bracket and the beginning of the semicolon, put in a dot, and we want to use query selector again. And check that I've typed it again, guys. Open brackets, put in your quote marks, and we want the image tag. So if we save that and then go back to our front end and refresh it, right, and then we click, there we go. So that's how it changes. And then just to show you, let's just go to phone. So you'll see it fits on phone. And I just want to change this to a tablet. So let's try an iPad. And there we go for iPad. So guys, I've just noticed that this is not in line. There's a bit of a gap there. And I think I know the reason. It's because I've put the code module after this last image. So that's not going to work. So you can see the gap better there. You'll see this image doesn't go right to the end of the main image. So you'll see it's because we've got that code module in there. You'll see that blue line there. And that's what's taking up some space, like a very small bit of space. So just to solve that problem, all we're going to do, we come up to row here, or we can even come to this row here. We're just going to add a new row by clicking the green add button. Just insert a one column, and we don't need to insert any module, so we can close that. And let's just take the code module and put it into that row, and now you'll see the spacing is gone. So that's a bit better. So let's save that. Let's go to our front end and refresh it. Okay, so now I don't know if you can really see it on here, but let's just actually take this off and close that, and you can see it better. Now you'll see that it does go to the end of the main photo, and we can click on any image and it's changing, and it's got this nice opacity and the nice fade-in effect. And guys, that's how you do this sort of gallery in Divi. And I think you'll agree there wasn't much code. The JavaScript is a bit tricky and a bit hard to understand, but as long as you copy it word for word, you should be fine. And again, leave me a comment or send me an email if you're having issues with this. But yeah, that's it for now. I will release another video. I'm actually doing a navigation menu, which I think you'll like. I actually show you what it looks like. Let me just quickly get into my front end here. Let's just go back into the dashboard. And I'll show you what I finished it. I just have to record the video. But if we go to pages, all pages, and let's just click on this home and view it. So I built this navigation, and this is something that Divi doesn't come with. Divi's navigation is very boring. It's basically, that's their navigation, and that's as much as you can do with it. There's some slight things you can do, but I've done this navigation, so you'll see if you hover over it, it tells you what page you're going to, and it's got this hover effect. It's got some social media icons here at the bottom, and it's sticky. So when you scroll, this bar stays to the left of the screen, and you can open it up, and then you get this design here, which I think is quite nice. It shows your logo there. If you close it, again, it goes away and you just see the icons. So I'm going to release this video next, I think, to show you how to do this. But this is a bit more HTML coding, a bit more CSS, and a bit more JavaScript. So yeah, but it's fun. At least you can make your Divi website look a bit more interesting than just having that normal navigation. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that video. I'll hopefully release it in the next couple of days. So yeah, guys, if there's anything you want me to create in Divi that you don't know how to do, leave a link to the website where you've seen it, and I'll see if I can do that for you. And then if you want me to design a website in a certain industry, also drop a comment down below. Let me know which industry you're in, and I'll design that website for you so you can build it yourself. And then I've hoped you enjoyed something like this. It's a bit of a shorter video. It's something a bit different than me building a whole website out from scratch, although I've only done 2. And I will do a few more of those. I just need to find time to do them. So I'm going to probably bring out more of these shorter videos where we just design a certain aspect of a website. Guys, if you have any questions, again, please drop a comment or send me an email. You'll find my email address in the description below. And if you do want to work with me, if you want me to build a website for your company or for you, you can get in contact with me as well. I've left my website link below, and again, you can use that or you can use my email address. And then guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and gets my video out to more people. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. That also helps me out a little bit. So I really appreciate that, and I just want to thank you for those who have subscribed and who have liked videos. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I will chat to you soon. Have a good one, ladies and gents. Cheers.